Hello, Akron. How y'all doing tonight? Because that was a loud ad. I saw that. All right. So glad to have you out here tonight. I know it is cold out there, but it's not in here, and I'm glad you're in here with us. We've got a lot of regular faces in the room. We've got some newer regular faces. We've got some new folks. Not to this stage, not to this mic, not to that stage or mic, but to this event. I'm glad you're all here. Our featured poet today flew in from North Carolina, y'all, to come feature at this event. We've been planning this for a while. It has finally come to pass. Terrific poet from down there. I think you're going to enjoy this a lot. We'll bring up our feature. We'll have a break. We'll do the open mic. I think I've asked everybody, but the list is over there. But I think it's time to kick it off with our feature. Please welcome to the mic, D.S. Will.
How much for that burger on the menu? See, there's a war going on outside, and our salvation is of no concern to that army. Too many feasting on famine and feeble attempts to bite the hand that starves us. Well, that's the process, right? Preservatives weren't meant to preserve us. So we doubled down on fast food, too furious to fuel through drive-thrus. Breaking those speed laws results in cardiac arrest to the point that we are so out of shape that we can't exercise our desire to ignore our feeds. Now that's difficult to swallow. When readers, we digest what our souls can't stomach. But when's the last time that you got full off of a word salad? Supersized portions until we reach top ramen tier. After breakfast of champions with Little Debbie. Word of mouth is sleight of hand in the face of Popeye marketing. Out back, there's still beef. And despite the stakes being high, it's very, very, very hard to quit cold turkey. That's what happens when the dominoes never fell in your favor and the only thing you ever wanted was a piece of the pie. So now, we've reached a portion of the menu where culture becomes synonymous with what we ingest. Good eating after Sunday morning sessions results in Monday afternoon doctor's appointments. Due to skepticism of Tuskegee cousins and the sterilization of queens means there's more or less showing up to our family reunion, and I get it. A Wendy's 4 for $4 can travel further across a hobbled dinner room table, and instant recipes makes it easy for you to enjoy canned laughter over candlelight. But when do we stop passing on more than just type 2 to our offspring? Have we not amputated enough limbs off of that family tree? When you've been grilled all day and the smoke finally clears, it's easy to see that life ain't no picnic basket. And it's going to take more than a yogi to stretch minimum wage and cover over all of the bare necessities. We are infatuated within this chemical romance where addiction has become our diction, and that language continues to be soured. It can't be sweetened with a tooth-twisted metal of utensils dug into the salt of the earth in greed. Ingredients that you can't even pronounce. So I'm pretty sure the FDA won't mind if you miss another serving of mama's home cooking. We are what we eat. So who are you? How much for that burger on the menu? Well, it depends if you value that meal more than your life. Let's get it. Woo! Akron!
Hey!
How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Oh, I need more energy than that. I'm doing from a long way. How you guys feeling this evening? Woo! I am humbly grateful to Keith for allowing me to share in this wonderful space that you have created of expression with a multitude of faces and spirits. The arts is more important than ever. Do not let them mute your voice. Your purpose is your purpose, and a hello can save someone's life. Thank you to the Rialto Theatre as well for housing this artistic expression. I have two more pieces for you, and then I'm going to get out of your way so I can be entertained and enlightened by the voices in the room, and then think I'm coming back up.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So with that said, this next piece, I don't like to give a ton of narrative before pieces, but this one deserves a little bit. I got tricked into doing a slam one year. I'm like, come on in, DS. Oh, by the way, it's a slam. And I couldn't back out of it. But it was an interesting project. They selected some paintings from the local museum, and we had to write a piece based upon what we saw. And this one painting had this woman in a kitchen, and her head was face down in the table. And I call this the story of her. She doesn't hang her head in defeat. She's simply adjusting the tourniquet to mend her injured visions. If you notice in the middle of her palms, there are calluses from spinning color wheels that would often land on black and blues while wrestling to keep control of a crown from being confiscated to appease Purple Mountain's majesty. Sipping tea? Absolutely not. She's too busy brewing up storms despite angry suns abandoning their posts to be illuminated in Lenin's imagination. Imagine there's no catcalls filling up hotlines after she gives cold shoulders to so-called admirers, or standing up the invitation to sit in the laps of patriarchs. That Joan of Arc never floated on those thirst traps. And that's the beauty of her struggle, the victory of her vulnerability, the very thirst in her tears that allows her to chase her thoughts, but never could we dilute the potency of her passion. If heaven had a height, we are standing on the shoulders of celestials in order to christen her, and that's not even the half of her forecast. Can you imagine during infancy, whispered aspirations beginning to gain momentum? She is fully armed in earshot of her vision boards, leaving the windows of her soul open so we can experience the gust of mind-blowing decisions. But if you notice that her head hangs low, maybe it's because gravity is jealous of her ascension. If her heart is heavy, that means that she never took love lightly. If you notice a bit of a limp in her walk, that's due to her using anchors as training wheels to prepare her for life's journey. Somewhere left to center, right around rough edges, combing through insecurity, breaching to passwords, and punctuate her presence at the end of life's sentence while using the borrowed hands of time to stretch infinity into seconds. She doesn't hang her head in defeat. She's simply using the table as a sounding board because everyone has gone deaf to her silence. She is poking holes in their theories like side slits. And she hasn't been shy since the side splits on the skeletal anatomy, showing off her angel wings in front of demonized that dare demonize her presence as being nothing more than a devil in a dress. So maybe she needs a couple of more moments to replenish. Especially after the many attempts of plucking that wildflower growing outside the exit of Eden, when she realized she is more than just Adam's rib. She is the very backbone infused in neglected goddesses left abandoned on forgotten memory lanes. She doesn't hang her head in defeat. She's simply waiting for the next time to rise. Woo! Black boys don't cry. When was the last time you suffered a paper cut from reading someone's mind? Or traveled to a place where high fives are the handshakes of superstitions? See, underneath the thumb of a clenched fist, he would hide tears in basins in order to water the flowers on his gravesite. You didn't know? He had buried himself yesterday, but the earth couldn't stomach someone so broken. It regurgitated his spirit, and now he's floating like a lost boy that never could land unless his feet is firmly planted on the block. Mood swings for the fences in hopes of being caught by angels in the outfield. He wants to go home. Has to ensure that each and every single base is covered before he is pitched some relief. Wishing wells would cease their stir of echoes. He has already checked out that melody, can't seem to return it to his rightful composer. We call those black boy blues, also known as red flags, colors omitted from the rainbow, still not enough to pit in the piss in the pot that he had labeled as gold. Silver linings were supposed to shape up a better future. He couldn't escape a checkered past. Would you believe me if I told you not once had anyone ever attempted to king him? When was the last time you allowed the mask you wore to blush? Or held up fear to the sun to realize its counterfeit hope? He would play house in order to shelter his pain when the light played too rough. Called soft to the point that he auctioned off masculinity in order to pay for lessons of manning up. And even though he was given prescriptions of faith and prayer, and the instructions was ingrained on his fragile frame, he would still overdose on those bitter placebos. Ladies and gentlemen, we call that medicine for the melancholy. When you are hoping to be an astronaut in order to breathe in the space between relief and regret, but shh, loose lips can sink those ships when you are awaiting to ride someone else's wave due to faucets being unable to put out burning beds that have been labeled as illicit. Forced to wear a badge of humiliation to cover over the patches of black boy blues, also known as red flags, colors omitted from the rainbow's pride. In fact, when was the last time that the black boy did not have to stiffen his upper lip? When Rosetta Stone was not needed to translate each and every single emotion into anger? When did I love yous become Chinese finger traps of the tongue and firearms the coldest part of an anatomy? When I look in the mirror, I see the enemy of my enemy in me. Forced to pass down this watered down machismo to my children, delivered by the empty-hearted. Oz never wanted to adopt us ghetto bastards. We were already considered in a poverty's paradise, unruly tin men. Tell me, can black boys rock, or does that only happen after we've been stoned? When was the last time that the black boy was allowed to cry? I don't know. I was always told that I couldn't.
And that wordplay. Give it up one more time for DS Will. You get to hear DS one more time. Coming back to the mic here in a little bit. Before we take a break, a couple things you can do during the break. Seth back here, new father. Give it up for parenthood back here. New daddy back in the room. Seth's got your drinks. Nate's got you with food. Now's a really good time to order those things. We can do all the clinking and stuff and not even hear anything up here. So do that. There's stuff to check on the merch table. Stickers and magnets are free. Feel free to grab a Angry Cow Poetry sticker or Moo Motherfucker magnet. It is also good hoodie weather. We got more hoodies in the box underneath. If you're looking for a hoodie, let me know. $5 suggested donation goes all straight to our feature. DS came up, flew up from North Carolina. Throw some love in there if you haven't already and are able to. Restrooms down the hall if you're first time here, although I don't think anybody in the room is first time here. And we'll be back shortly. Thank you. All right, y'all, we are going to get the open mic started. Yeah, absolutely. Bring that energy. If we talk Georgann into saying the limerick from 8th grade, we will have everyone in the room playing on the mic tonight. That might be a big ask, but I think otherwise we've got everyone except the Vale Brothers who could come up here and perform a great song too. I've got everyone else going on the mic. I'm really excited for all of these. First up to the 2-poem limit or song limit or whatever you're bringing, with the exception of Ed. Ed always has an asterisk there. Most of you know why. But please welcome first to the mic, Ed Amann.
Who are you?
Who are you to tell someone who to hate or who they cannot love? Who appointed you to speak and set yourself above? My heart can find its own way home. It knows where I belong. I know it when I'm with you. No one can tell us that I'm wrong. And sometimes it goes sideways. Light on the horizon rises. Stars begin to fade for day. Been wandering out here all night long trying to think of what to say. You saw me talking with another last night at the dance. Been wandering out here all night wishing for another chance. We thought it was forever since our 5 years old romance. Been wandering out here all night wishing for another chance. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Ed Amann. Appreciate you. Next up, someone who's been at the Rialto here performing a number of times, but first time to this event, please welcome Wes Goin.
It's okay, I got one for you.
All right.
Mom put the cat litter in the car today. You better change your tires, because there's ice on the road. Sold my ride the other day. Got $3.50, maybe a little less. See, I live in Ohio and the thing was falling apart. Because of the salt. Because of the ice on the road. And they say it's getting pretty bad out there. It ain't just the drunks and the texters today. Because there's ice on the road. I thought I might stay in, but I got plans. And maybe it clears up soon. It's hard to say, but the weatherman says the locals are getting too comfortable with the ice on the roads. Man, did I see something strange today? I walk outside for some fresh air, and a couple of neighbors are hosing down the drives. Salt for me, thanks, it's January. I was asking Dave, like, what's the big idea? And he said he just likes the color. A couple ticks go by and I get a call from a friend talking about an accident on the highway. Lost control over the bridge and veered off. The ice got him. Stopped to see if they were okay. No crash, no driver, no car, and no trace. Just the ice on the bridge. And I asked if she called for help! And she said they only cared about his license. Call-ins and it's quiet. Soon it might be spring, but right now, there's ice on the roads. I can hear a snow truck starting somewhere. It's starting an engine and opening its doors. There's a plow under my bed, and there's ice on the road. Thank you.
Yes. How powerful. Give it up one more time for Wes Goin. Appreciate that. Hope you keep coming back. Next up, someone else who just stumbled onto us not too long ago. I think it's her second straight month now. Please welcome it up to the mic, Sara Jane.
Hello.
Hello.
These are upside down. So I've been having a dry spell, but I brought a new one and like a whole new. This is an old poem. It's called Summer 2015. The sky puts up with its clouds as a courtesy, cordial for the sake of summer. Here in the grass, your quiet is notarized love. The sun is yours, and I expect to share it over coffee and backlogged conversation. The breeze makes small talk with my hair, and I imagine what you might say about it. How curls catch like snagged sweaters or tug at the wind. Your chest is a California king. Your breath stuck in your teeth, on the tongue that parched like apricot leather. I adore you in this and every way. Like a silent letter, here and gone before the rain. So I don't know if any of you heard me talking, but I have long COVID, and I'm finally like out in the world. This is a poem I wrote kind of about like accepting the journey of like getting well. It's called The Nurse Says. If you want the city, first the farm. First the mangled hay that sunned itself to barley and shook on it. It'll be alright. But first, it'll be a lot. The well is far and the thirst is real. But rest assured, the rust will work your tongue wonderful. Drink and be a healing. Milk the cows for everything they're worth in these unrushing hours. You'll get there when you get there. But for now, corn. Now, the gridlock of whisked breeze singing sweet grain music in the ear of a familiar sky. It's close enough. Sky will do its thing the same wherever. And when it's time, the horses will misplace the book on bucking so you might east and westward home with clean pants and sharp boots, fresh as new muscle. But first, the farm. First, the tractor cutting folks like you to size. Thanks.
Yeah. We're so glad you're back out in the world. Give it up one more time for Sara Jane. I'm going to adjust this now because the next poet to the mic is so kind that if I leave this mic too low, they will just bend into it no matter how low I leave it. So I have to make sure I raise it up. Please give it up for TaJuan sKai.
Hi, I hope you all are doing well. Quick note, I'm only going to read one poem, but I want to give this little aside before I read this poem. I was like, I have a little drive to get here, and I was practicing on the way here, like how I'm going to say this. So it's like, in the late 60s, the Cuyahoga River up in Cleveland caught on fire, right? To very little fanfare locally, as it was not the first time that that river had caught on fire, and it was seen as like a necessary evil for industrial progression. Well, globally, that scene sparked a phenomenon, and it like shifted the cultural the cultural look on environmental disasters such as that. So much so that things like the Clean Water Act and had passed, and luckily that river hasn't caught fire to this day again. So I say this to say that I've been writing my first book, Self-Portrait of a Lake Fire, and I've been taking special care of the congruence between environmental disasters like that, what it really takes to catch a body of water on fire, and how it relates to generational childhood trauma. So I say all this to say, evoking this historical truth to say, of all the tragedies in my personal bloodline, I will be the last of it.
Let's go.
So here's Self-Portrait as a transfiguration of the Cuyahoga River in 1969. What is this becoming? What is this waking up? What is this spiraling, if not helicopter movement to eternity? Or am I being too much? Here are the coping hands, river water miserable, meaning some sort of word on penance for the hell-worthy dances I have choreographed. I miss my waltz partner so much. But I'm not saying anything new. In gratitude of relapse, I can pattern perfect circles, but I simply wouldn't recommend it. What is this beckoning? What is this welcoming? Cattails, rat tails, where is my head in this hunt? The addict's cower, wilt shouldered, a poorly nourished flower. My guilt heavy in the Cuyahoga, my mind in transfiguration somewhere in the sky. White clouds bruise orange, ablaze for a fallen sun. And while I'm not currently Christian in any meaningful way, I burst the atmosphere as a fallen sun. My humanity, my wantonness and want for a Jesus or an anyone to wrap up my unaware wounds. I am still in my yellow wallpaper days, in my yellow scrubs happiness, alone in yellow cautionary light from my father's acai eyes, ingrained in my yellow bruises. Red and tart with empires of shame, crumbling castles, that is his drunken language of pride and self-loathing, his syrup soliloquies sloppily slurring into sense, and on his worst days, I looked less like a son and more like a bill to pay, and I felt it. Our song, a leather-bounded skull crusher. Our song, a shattered vinyl record. Our song, becoming sharp enough to kill. Our song, a bottle of pills under the pale moonlight. My most ambitious pirouette. A summer ballet that dips into afterlife. Our song, the bridge I could no longer walk, breathing. So I puff, and I smoke, and I puff, and I smoke, and I puff, and I smoke, and I smoke, and I smoke, and I smoke, like him. What is this back bending? What is this wall climbing? Oh, river water, as your oil spill, won't you come alive, overheat as deliverance from these generational lines of symmetry, so that on my martyrdom, to whatever forever I am judged, the world can continue dancing in imperfect circles, one less fatherless son. Poem.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. Give it up one more time for one, sKai. Next up to the mic is someone who will be on this mic tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, right here, front room. Always a great night. Come out and join him tomorrow if you're able to. Please give it up for Georgann Ballard. You signed the sheet.
All right.
You want to do the limerick in between?
Oh, it won't go on.
What? Get up there.
All right. Y'all know I don't do this. I do this with a guitar.
Yeah.
This has been the biggest a cappella night I've ever seen. So I'm going to have to do that, I guess. I was, with all of what was happening in Minneapolis, as many people were doing, I was writing and I noticed a lot of songwriters were coming on with their guitar in their bedroom or in the forest or on their porch and playing a song, and I wanted to write one to do. And as I wrote it, some of you know I have a band, and my inside my head was screaming at me, call the band. So I did. We got it done, but it's not ready to drop yet, but we will soon. This is called Michigami, which is Native American for big water, particularly Lake Michigan or places up that way. So that's why it's mentioned in here. And I'm going to try and sing it a cappella again. I've never done that. So we'll see what happens. Michigan. Come gather my lovelies, and I'll tell you the tale. How they think that mask and meanness will throw us off their trail. But they're just puffs of smoke on a windy winter gale. We all sing together, no, never will we fail. Come along, see what they've become. We brought the music, they brought the guns. From the streets of Venezuela up to Michigan, front yards of Minneapolis, as far as you can see. Do you think we are afraid? Do you think we will not come? We brought the voices, they brought the guns. No, it's never been true, from dark lords to evil kings, that they've silenced all the singers, for more will always sing. Voices together with the pipers and the drums. We brought the music, they brought the guns. Toy soldiers, trumped up valor that hides behind a mask. Couldn't be, just wanna be, almost afraid to ask. But they're just puffs of smoke on a windy winter gale. When we all march together, no, never will we fail. So come along, and see what they have done. We brought the music, they brought the guns. Come along, and see what they have done. We brought the music, and they brought the guns. We just brought whistles, they brought the guns.
Damn. Great. Did sound great. I'm so glad you brought that. You can definitely follow anyone tonight. Give it up for Jim Ballard. I had the pleasure of hearing the track as it's coming along, and it wasn't finalized, but the track is great. Follow Jim Ballard on whatever listening, streaming channel you do. New tracks coming out, but a lot of them already out there too. Georgann, do you want to read your limerick?
Sure, let's keep it.
Everyone in the room is going to be reading tonight. Please welcome, I think first time to this mic, but long time regular, Georgann Ballard!
This is probably the most profound poem you'll hear all night.
All right.
So I wrote it in the 8th grade. And it's a limerick. There was a bald man from the rig, whose mouth was exceedingly big. That one day came the dawn, He gave a big yawn, and behold, he had swallowed his wig.
Oh.
You are so cute.
Agreed. Need to give a mic to Paula in the back because you got some great comments growing up tonight. I'm going to bring up here too, but I just love what you're saying in between. I love how that just kind of speaks to the power of poetry, that you could write something in 8th grade and it can still linger with you. Give it up one more time for Georgann Ballard. Now we are going to get you up to the mic. Please welcome to the mic, Paula Maggio.
Yes, lower that thing.
How's that?
Okay, I think that's good. So some of you may be too young to remember May 4th, 1970 at Kent State. Does everybody know that? Okay, then I won't.
Aware of it, but
I won't
just
illuminate
before my
it.
time.
All
Not
right.
much.
So, when the shootings in Minneapolis happened, I was a student at Kent back in 70, and I was on the comments that day when 4 students were shot and killed, murdered. And so the whole thing was just brought back to me by what has been happening in Minneapolis. So I wrote this. The sounds of gunshots echo is the title. The sounds of gunshots echo from Kent State to Minneapolis, from May 4th, 1970 to January 7th and 24th, 2026. From National Guard guns to ICE and CBP weapons. From a sunny spring afternoon to an Arctic winter morning. From 4 dead on a campus to 2 dead in the streets. Protesters or observers all. The sounds of gunshots echo through our heads and through our hearts, stirring our feelings of shock and disbelief, of pain and rage, of sadness and horror. As white people realize yet again what black and brown people have always known. Our government is not our protector, it is our persecutor.
Thank you so much. Give it up one more time for Paula Maggio. Y'all enjoying the open mic? Yes. Yeah. We have, I believe, 2 more, unless I get Seth or Nate to come on up here. The next poet we connected, we were both published in a, speaking of older times, we were both published in a 40 over 40 anthology. And afterwards, I'm like, I need you to come to my event pretty much and sought her out. And thankfully you have and seem to be really enjoying. So I'm so glad you're here. Please welcome to the mic, our Lansing.
Yes, perfect. Awesome. Okay, I have 2 for you tonight.
Yeah.
So the first one, they're both new. One of them is hot off the press. This is not that one. This one that I'm going to share with you guys, I am working on a rough draft of a collection that I am really hoping to do something with. We are exploring some themes, really kind of getting somewhere with it. I believe you were the first person that ever heard this one. So this is called Dust. They say you were the first hand to push through intercostal space while he slumbered. His body yawned, revealing the galaxy from which you stepped. His inward strength, made small enough to hold, could not contain your cosmos. From his first architecture, you emerged, wiping dust from your hands. While he slumbered, you stood, uncovered, and stretched your Milky Way arms. How empty he must have looked, and how full you must have felt. Until his eyes flitted open and his voice imprisoned you in the suffix of his name. They say you were the first hand to wrap around temptation, to wind like the vines or the snake toward the ruby truth. Temptation implies sin, but there was no rebellion stirring in your celestial body. Your teeth pushed apart the dirt and heavens. They twisted words like horns and placed them on your head. The sentence for knowledge does not fit the crime of knowing the garden is not neutral. Your test had teeth, gnashing when you tried to feed yourself. When your blood fell, they called it soiled. A multitude later, woven through the fabric of your stars, I stand before the basin, hungry for the same truth, learning how red leaves, and sometimes leaves a mark. This next one is I was sitting at that table.
Hey.
It's called Glass Houses. The funny thing about living in a glass house is how acutely aware one becomes of pebbles that litter the garden. Innocuous things, really. Harmless bits of stone that do nothing more than suppress weeds and keep the soil in place. It's easier to tend flowers when the wild growth is suppressed. The aesthetics are better when the tilled earth produces the best looking plants. But the funny thing about living in a glass house is how acutely aware one becomes of the fragility because of the pebbles in the garden. The innocuity falls away in the balling of a fist, raised in defiance, held firmly at the end of an arm that wants nothing more than to be a weed in the rose bed, to stretch roots and be the wild growth that uproots the aesthetics. Because let's face it, the aesthetics suck. There is no charm in the whitewashing of nostalgia. Let the garden overgrow. Choke out the best looking plant. I sure as hell didn't agree this best in show hellscape where the whitest flower with the straightest stem gets pinned a blue ribbon. This is a glass house, friend. Let's find a handful of pebbles and see what colors we make when it finally shatters.
Yeah. Wrote that tonight.
Yes.
Damn. Fantastic, Rachel. Give it up one more time for our Lansing. I think that is everyone but me. So I will read you a couple pieces. The first one, I do have to look both of these up. The first one, I will call a dystopian grammar poem. I don't even know if that's a genre, but that's what I'm going with. I wrote this, that's too high. I wrote this in a speculative fiction writing workshop with Billy Tuggle, great poet out in Chicago. If you come for the big 4-year anniversary, you're going to see Billy on the backstage coming in from Chicago. And the directions were to use time travel. You get to pick your direction. So this is what I came up with. In short. When Billy Tuggle asked me to step inside a time machine and choose the direction, the rotting smell of death surrounds me as I step outside the closing doors. Fuck, I knew I should have chosen the past. But I'd watched the movies, the flying cars and talking robots. Well, sure, there were always the big fight scene, some intergalactic battle. The good guys always won in the end. Maybe nobody does. Did. Will. All right, I got one more piece for you. This is brand new. I've never read that last one out. I wrote it a couple years ago, but I've never read it other than inside the workshop. I kind of forgot about it and stumbled onto it. But this one certainly has been touched on by many tonight because we need to bring those voices. The ICE training manual. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Cover your face. Present no ID. Target those who don't belong if they question you. if they film you. If they stand between you and someone you are harassing, first step, pepper spray, second step, the gun. Enter apartment buildings in the dark of the night. Find anyone, everyone. Arrest them for breathing. Zip tie them and their children. Find a threat. Invent a threat. Be the threat. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Drag protesters away by their collar after you shoot rubber bullets into their eyes. Even when you are off duty, you can still pull the trigger. You are never off duty. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Pretend the atrocities they see aren't just the tip of the iceberg. You have a governmental kidnapping job to do, and it shall not be impeded by any of the amendments we will be ignoring. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Explode tear gas beneath cars with 6-month-olds and their siblings returning from basketball practice. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Grab 5-year-olds in their blue hats and Spider-Man backpacks off the street, out of their schools. Use them as bait. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Fire 10 times into the nurse restrained on the ground. Blame the gun that never left the holster. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Empty canisters can still be smashed into restrained bodies. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. Falsify reports. Even if the camera is rolling, the camera won't always be rolling. Stop the camera from rolling. First step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. If they're a mom in a car, say you were afraid of her slowly moving vehicle, of her smile. When she starts to pull away, first step, pepper spray. Second step, the gun. The steps do not need to be followed in order. Thank you. Thank you so much, y'all. I'm going to give us about 5 minutes. I'm going to change my camera, talk to folks. Everyone was a poet on the mic tonight. That is pretty amazing. Talk to somebody, tell them what you loved about what they brought. We're going to get DS Will up here in just about 5 minutes. Woo, woo. This has already been a great night, and we're not quite done because we're going to get our feature back up here. Hope you're having as good a night as I am. Thank you to everyone for bringing all of your amazing voices up to the mic. It was fantastic open mic. We have the pleasure, one more time, of listening to our friend from North Carolina here. Please give it up once again for DS Will!
From songs to limericks to poems, thank you for your voices. Thank you for the inspiration. Continue to fight. Fuck ICE.
Yeah.
Unapologetically.
Right?
I was hosting an open mic one time and I noticed there was a woman in the crowd who was profusely crying throughout the whole show, but she was jotting down notes. And when we had ended the show, I walked away, went to the restroom, and I heard someone speaking on the microphone, and it was the same woman was reciting a poem that she had written throughout the whole show, which means that everyone who performed, everyone who snapped fingers was a co-author of that particular piece. Again, going back to the importance of your voices, you don't know who you're inspiring. And she had confessed that she hadn't been to a poetry showcase in over 10 years, and it was just her desire to do so, and that all of the pieces that she heard kind of conjured up these images, but gave her the bravery to be able to perform. So I wrote this piece for her. It's called Rise. You ever been startled by the presence of your absence? Confronted with a void so snugged in your personal space that it made you change its zip code. See, whether the color of your missing persons alert is amber or silver, the fact remains that sometimes our eternal GPS will direct us to turn a blind eye to someone's suffering. That's why it's important that those who have a way with words understands that what is said on this microphone can be someone's homecoming. Preventing the promotion of trauma to varsity blues. Sure, we all have touched down. That's why we understand that rock bottoms rarely roll out the carpets for soft reboots. The opportunity to start fresh and allow the spilled ink to heal the cuts from turning a new loose leaf on life, and that's how I imagine she felt. Experiencing the showcase from her seat, transfixed on her brokenness, face pressed against the glass, the witness, the strength she believed had become extinct. Maybe preserving it gave her hope that pain is not the only emotion she could exhibit. While we were busy waxing poetic, she was allowing the napkin to absorb the exorcism as the demons attempted to possess her headspace, and she was determined that her body of work wouldn't stay bedridden as she was pillowed with stones to appellate her judgment. It was so organic. For AI is not the answer in courting these divorce unions. Sure, there's bound to be labor pains. How else can you expect a new identity to be born? Snaps of fingers should be reminders for us to leave the light on for the prodigal who's probably lost a son on more than one occasion, and now the orphan's black. Fostering the care of shadows that rumble through the vessels of her eyelids only to land on God's tear. How else can she drown out her sorrows when thoughts keep afloat in life's parade? Let's welcome her to our Umbrella Academy and convince her it's not bad luck to open up inside. We are a special lot, the salt of the earth, never turning our back on the voiceless, but allowing them to amplify the rift with those who attempted to pluck their strings. No, I never said they were puppets. They just thought that all helping hands could heal. I saw when she gripped her balance in the last attempt to lean upon her own understanding. She became more determined than ever to shorten the marathon from here to the stage. Each step was fitted for Goliath. I was praying that the finish line would become ticker tape and she could learn to invest in herself as we assist her in brokering a new deal. She took stock that a crash was no longer an option as she chiseled out memories which would become the sources of new pieces. Ownership of her expression, no need for the leases. I said ownership of her expression, no need for the leashes. Fate has a tendency to collar the life of a lover when you tell it to hold that L and you overcome the inhibitions that have gotten used to the settings so our eyes can no longer make light of this shit is heavy. A sack full of dreams confused for a bundle of burdens tossed over the shoulder. Once the weight is over, she speaks and breathes in tremors that used to rock her foundation but steady her will. She steps over the aftershocks of rippled decisions. She waves at a reflection that can now wink back at her with pride. Grounded no longer, she is risen, and who knew that a resurrection could be this poetic? I was inspired by you guys to use the page. I was speaking to my fellow poets about page and stage. And I'm going to read something that's a bit autobiographical. Any comic book fans in here? Oh.
Yes.
Comics saved my life.
Oh.
Before it was popular, before it was a part of the everyday lingo, they were there for me. And so this is my story, and it's called Comic Relief.
Yeah.
Do they sell bugs there? An odd question until you understand that I had never heard of the term flea market. My mother decided it would be our next destination before we returned home from vacation. Who knew a simple detour where trash becomes blemished treasures would be the origin of my character arc? No panels, just thoughts bubbling over my head to contain where the wild things were. As I glanced at the mementos of memories, bronze novelty, and captured moments across tables, it only stood half a chance of regaining the stability of the glory years. I came across a book containing amazing fantasies, a journey into mystery. These tales of suspense were fantastic for reasons stretching beyond the one thing that made me forget I was as light as a rock, Lee. Iron Man issue 241. On the cover, a Tin Man clad in red and gold lay in the clutches of his mortal enemy. See, before there was grading, plastic, boards, conventions, cosplay, and signings, there was just me, a timid kindergartner who faced many challenges of the unknown. From hospital beds, the first 4 years of my life, in those heat of the M nights, they probably called me Mr. Glass. To cope, I adopted an unbreakable fascination with both heroes and villains my mother shared with me, rekindling her own upbringing in public housing, where we all could have used some more private moments to heal from those secret wars. These funny pages were more than just whimsical distractions. They were portals transporting me to days of a present past, involving trips with Nanny to my local shops, topped off by mountainous Sundays on a Saturday at Magic Fountain, or trading cards with Pedro as we found the shared solace of acceptance in lieu of being bullied by the big boys who considered us to be outcasts. In the back of the bus, we perfected our alter egos in order to keep hobbies hidden. You see, our first appearances weren't considered valuable. Aware of the extinction agenda that plagued urban environments, there was no serums, gamma rays, or conveniently abandoned barrels of toxic waste. There was just our natural abilities at being different, or maybe alien. That explains the uncanny ability to transform lemons into lemonade that went very well with video game sleepovers and pizza rolls. See, this was the alpha of our omega classification. The last became first to realize it was mask off when it came to our future selves, comfortable in our skin, dismissing secret identities as runaways who found home amongst ragtag bunches within shared universes. The parallels were spectacular. Encountering variants that overcame infinite crises and incursions, covering ratios we lacked when we settled for rations of acceptance. Now we figured the combination of these safe spaces, drawn together until we're as animated as our favorite characters. I tell you, it's Revenge of the Nerds. New entities, ready, deadly, sexy. I am terrible at acronyms. But I am cool with admitting it. I'm amongst my tribe, and for us, this isn't just a fad, hashtags, or buzzwords. We've tripped on our capes, lost our powers, revamped costumes, switched teams, been defeated in battles, and still risen from the ashes to tailgate the phoenix for multiple volumes and editions. And even if we run out of paper, we just write on the wall. This is our way of life, not just mere comic relief. I got two more pieces for you guys. More, autobiographical things. I was inspired to write this piece by a movie that was called Kicks and involved this young man who stumbled upon the pair of Jordans and changed his entire identity once they were stolen. He was resorting to the most drastic measures that was completely out of character. And it's funny, people wonder why. Why do poor people consider clothes to be so important? You ever wonder why the word gardens is usually associated with the names of project buildings and apartment complexes, but rarely is the grass greener on the other side? Only lit to form these accumulus clouds hovering over flickering bodega lights. Now that usually means a new idea is attempting to be born, but you're probably going to come up short if you're trying to transform your thoughts into pennies. In other words, where I'm from, poverty's not a fad sponsored by Banana Republic, and hanging tongues from sneakers aren't acquired from following runway models. You see, Mom wore the pants around these parts. No matter how many times we visited coin-operated laundromats, our collars were never going to be white. So I guess it's true what they say, that clothes made the man. The very reason why these J's on my feet are worth more than any letters you'll discover on my report card. Now, some may view that as being an Achilles heel. I see it as being a step up from being stomped in the yard or serving up the helping of the baker's dozen, but I still don't have enough dough to get the new additions, so these tears prove I can't stand the rain. But NE heartbreak can be mended with true religion, crossover, and that's when you fully understand how the prophets work. You see, I'm still healing. Scratch that, still reeling from initial rejection of round-the-way girls. The cliques of child-supported heels were supposed to take them somewhere over the rainbow, where they can view episodes of Living Color before falling prey to the cults of personality, leaving nothing behind but Grey's Anatomies. You see, name recognition and pride is tied together like a Windsor. But I'm not trying to create a noose, just an afternoon of me and the homies hanging. But we understand what you're trying to do. These so-called bridges over poverty into the sunken place, dookie rope chain of fools popping tags on the Trail of Tears, which wasn't supposed to be native to those Americans, making reservations at the Section 8, but never enough for the 10 of us. Spoon-feeding political rhetoric, but what do I bring to the table? My worth was never measured in your livestock. To survive in this animal farm, you have to have the meanest of walks and the latest of trends and campaigning for dead presidents so finally someone can represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. So you better not have a bootlegged gait if you want to keep up with the movers and shakers. Make sure your strides are authentic in case you want to capture a new balance. Because in these kicks, I no longer have to wish I was a little bit taller. I mean, I'm stepping on the skulls of egos, those who wanted to scuffle from leaving scuffs, tearing down the poster child of stick-up kids who wish they could possess these souls. Because if you took a step in my old pair, you'll see the amount of calluses and blisters I have from following in the footsteps of Christ and climbing up the arms and shoulders of my ancestors, whispering in the ears of my classmates, but unfortunately they weren't trying to hear that shit. I'm tired of crossing over and breaking ankles just to reach the circumference of the in crowd. So in popularity is the desperate cousin of success, you tell old girl to save the last dance on prom night. I don't have anything else. In other words, feet, don't fail me now. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, family. Thank you, Rialto. The trip was well worth it. Even the snow.
pushed it a little with the spell.
Just a little bit.
The best way that you can support all us artists is sometimes free. So if you would like, I would love to stay connected with all of you. You can follow me on IG at If You Want DS Will. I'm going to end with what some consider to be my signature piece. It is my mantra, and I hope that all of you take heed to do this as we fight against the opposition, as we fight against our own personal insecurities, as we fight against the devil himself. And you know who I'm speaking about. This one's called Push. As far back as we can remember, we've been pulled from left to right, to where center of attention felt left without rights, left hand-me-down compliments that never seemed to fit quite right. So instead of rabbits, we pull all-nighters out of thinking caps, trying to rid ourselves of angles in order to fit in someone else's social circle. Can you imagine 360 degrees of separation that's pushed you to the outskirts, but without hurt, it would have been impossible for us to right all the pain that we had left. So we push through the right ways, and we become determined that our forward process will depend on our progress. So even if you turn us around, it just means that our progress will depend on our forward process. Objects may appear to be a bit closer than most, so we wear 3D rear view mirror glasses to know what we have left. In neutral, shift first and second gears towards a push through negative thoughts that tend to screw us over like a jump off on hump day. But some days, I just want to see a checkered flag. I hope that you can wave at me. I push through the fourth wall and use the bricks to construct a school of thought so these words can play outside of recess. But don't you get tired of pressing the reset button in this game of life? Pushing through the glass ceiling, I make sure the shards are as sharp as my wit. You see, Dad told me to hit them hard and hit them often. Continue to utilize these punchlines to make these hard lives soften. That will be the key for you to free verse. Continue to serve this food for thought on silver platters, but refuse to be an unknown butler in anyone's mansion. I need you to push as if there isn't an option for a C-section. So even when you don't feel whole, never let the world just see you in sections. I'd rather you spit till your saliva glands burst open and the remains drip in the ocean, making you forget that the sea had sections. Because if I didn't capture your attention with the first AB, or the second AB, or the third AB, will you really care by the time I reach the C section? See, let me let you in on a little secret. This is more than a performance. This is a therapy session. Every time that the ink busts from original thoughts inky bust, I swear us artists have to pierce ourselves and let the blood hit the stage, and you realize that there's ink in us. And it creates a Rorschach, so what do you see? I see those pushing as if their life was scripted by Sapphire, but Lord knows I can never be that precious. But why must our suffering be placed on cinema reels and cheap-ass attempts at keeping it real? Let's stop sweeping mental anguish underneath a carpet that is labeled taboo, because I can assure you there's a middle ground between the Evans and the Huxtables. Preach about it in these buildings that resemble a Manhattan high-rise instead of drowning the crowds with incessant talks of ties, because some of our family ties are quite current and that water wasn't used for baptisms. It should be used for nurturing the minds of the young who were left abandoned on information highway, trying to gain third eye vision, peering through cracked windshields, but some are still pulling, judging, avoiding these bad dates with karma until I become Percy Jackson, yielding lightning, putting shine on my space, changing Agent Orange to yellow. But I get it. When the spine of your book of life is crooked because your focus suffers from scoliosis, and debt is in your heels meeting you in the cemetery, giving the truest definition of life after death, you will pull right when there's nothing left, pull Pull tight when loosen Sunday's best. Pull over cause you're the wrong color. Pull under cause crabs are considered brothers. Pull through because school was a bit too challenging. Pull up when the noose begins to fasten. Drop the ED and currently some of us are still pulling in this eternal game of tug of war. But if you remember anything from this performance, let it be the one word mantra that allows you to remove the barcode from the back of your neck so your soul won't be sold for any price. And I know I said it at the beginning, it's hell on earth, so fuck ICE. Yeah. And that is the push. Because if you won't, DS will. Yeah.
Such an honor to have you bring your talents all the way up here, flying in from North Carolina. I'm so grateful for you coming up and blessing this mic so beautifully. Give it up one more time for DS Will. Yeah, absolutely. You got standing over there. Hey. When we come back next month, first Wednesday of the month, we are going back to the very first feature we've ever had at this event. Rialto favorite Danielle Nicole, Nikki Dixon is coming back to feature again. Super excited for that as well. Give it up for the Rialto Theatre, Seth Vale back here, Nate Vale, wherever you're at. They've been such a joy and pleasure to work with. Love those guys so much. Give it up to everybody who blessed the open mic for the first or second or 40th time. And last but not least, give it up one more time for DS Will. Yeah, you bet. We'll see you next month.